Most people think revenge is about striking back fast, loud, and with force. That's the thinking of an amateur. True revenge, the kind that leaves them sleepless at night, is done in complete silence. You don't tell them. You don't warn them. You don't even give them the privilege of hearing your voice. You let your discipline, your growth, your unshakable calm do the damage they never saw coming. When I was younger, I learned something that changed my life forever. If someone can make you angry, they own you. If they can control your reaction, they control your destiny. That's why the most dangerous fighter is the one who doesn't waste his energy proving he's dangerous. Today, I'm going to teach you exactly how to outsmart anyone who tries to hurt you without saying a single word. If you master these, no insult, no betrayal, no attack will ever have power over you again. 1. Control your fire before it controls you. When someone hurts you, when they insult you, betray you, or try to humiliate you, your first instinct will almost always be to react instantly. That heat you feel in your chest, the tightening in your jaw, the quickening of your heartbeat, that's anger rushing in to take control. Most people let it take over without a fight. They lash out, they shout, they send messages they regret. They make promises they can't keep all because they surrendered to the first wave of emotion. But listen to me, anger is like gasoline. If you spill it without thinking, you might burn the person who hurt you. Yes, but you can just as easily burn yourself, your reputation, your peace, and your future in the process. I do not let my enemies decide when I speak or when I move. I refuse to dance to their tune. If I allow them to push a button and watch me explode, then I have already given them power over me. That is why I control my fire. I keep it in my hands, not theirs. This is not about being passive. It's about being a master of yourself before you try to master anything else. When someone throws an insult at you, when they do something behind your back, when they try to provoke you, take that moment and let it pass through you without reaction. This doesn't mean you are weak. In fact, it means the opposite. It means you are precise, deliberate, and strategic. Your silence and composure become a shield they cannot penetrate. You do not give them the satisfaction of knowing they reached you. And that alone will frustrate them more than any words could. People expect you to react. They expect your voice to rise, your face to twist, your control to break. That's what they're aiming for, because the moment you lose control, they win. But when you stay calm, when you stand there and look them in the eyes, without a single unnecessary word, you take away their weapon. They're left with confusion. They're left powerless. The truth is, the man who controls his emotions controls the outcome. In a fight, the one who loses his temper first is already at a disadvantage because his judgment becomes clouded. In life, it is exactly the same. If you can stand in the middle of chaos, if you can take the worst insult and still think clearly, still choose your next move with purpose, then you are the one who decides how this story ends, not them. So remember this. When the fire rises inside you, do not let it spill recklessly. Hold it. Shape it. Keep it until the right moment, when releasing it serves you, not them. That is how you win without even throwing a punch. That is how you make your enemies fear your silence more than your voice. 2. Give them the gift of your absence. When someone tries to hurt you, they are counting on one thing, that you will keep showing up to feed their need for control, for drama, for attention. Whether it's an enemy who wants to see you angry, or someone close who enjoys pulling your strings, their power depends on you staying in their world, responding to their games. That's why one of the most devastating moves you can make is to disappear from their reach entirely. Absence is a weapon most people underestimate, because they think strength is always about confronting, about standing face to face and proving a point. But let me tell you the truth. Sometimes the greatest strength is in walking away and letting your silence become the loudest thing they hear. When you remove yourself from the stage, the show ends. They can't keep playing their part if you are no longer in the scene. When you step back, you remove your energy from them, and that energy is the oxygen their fire needs to keep burning. Every reaction you give, every argument you engage in, every attempt to defend yourself is more fuel for them. Take it away and watch how quickly their noise begins to fade. But here's the beauty of absence. It is not about running away. It is about choosing where you invest yourself. You are telling them without words, you are not worth my time, my peace, or my presence. And when they no longer have access to you, they are forced to face the emptiness they created. They have to sit alone with their own bitterness, their own insecurities, their own guilt, because you're no longer there to distract them from it. The human mind hates a vacuum. When you suddenly remove yourself, it creates space in their thoughts, and that space becomes an echo chamber of questions. Why did they stop talking to me? Why did they walk away? Did I lose my power over them? Are they doing better without me? These questions will torment them far more than anything you could ever say. I call it the gift of your absence, because it is both a punishment for them and a blessing for you. Without them in your daily life, you gain back your focus, your energy, your mental clarity. You stop wasting your strength on meaningless battles and start directing it toward things that truly matter: your growth, your craft, your goals. You must understand silence and absence together form a combination stronger than any argument. A man who is not present cannot be attacked. A man who is not responding cannot be controlled. And once you take away your presence, you take away the arena where they hope to watch you lose. So the next time someone tries to hurt you, ask yourself, do they deserve my presence? Do they deserve my time? If the answer is no, walk away. Not with anger, not with a scene, just with calm certainty. And when they finally realize you are gone, they will understand you didn't lose them, they lost you. And that is a wound no insult can heal. 3, outgrow them so far they can't reach you. Most people, when hurt, focus all their energy on the one who hurt them. They replay the moment, the words, the betrayal over and over like a broken record. They think about revenge, about proving a point, about making the other person see their mistake. But here's the truth: if you want to truly outsmart someone who hurt you, stop chasing them. and start building yourself so far beyond them that by the time they look again, you are out of their league entirely. The greatest revenge is not to fight them at their level. It is to rise so high that they can no longer even stand on the same ground as you. If they insulted you when you were weak, train until you are strong. If they mocked your ambitions when you were starting, work until your success is impossible to ignore. If they thought they had you figured out, evolve into someone they could never predict. This requires focus. It means shifting your attention away from their words and their actions and turning it inward. Ask yourself, what do I need to improve? Where can I grow so much that my progress becomes undeniable? That's where your energy should go. Every day you train your mind, your body, your skill. You are putting distance between who you are now and who they think you are. The beauty of outgrowing someone is that it's not about them anymore. It's about you becoming the fullest version of yourself. You stop competing with their image of you and start competing only with yesterday's version of you. And the more you grow, the more irrelevant they become. Their opinion, their judgment, their attempt to harm you, it shrinks in the shadow of the person you are becoming. And here's the part they won't be able to handle when they finally see you again. They will realize they can no longer reach you. Not physically, not emotionally, not mentally. You are not the same person they try to hurt. You've climbed too far. You've changed the entire game. They were prepared to fight the old you, but that person doesn't exist anymore. This is what destroys them without a word, because they can't claim credit for your rise. And they can't take away the fact that you built it without them. They are forced to watch you succeed in ways they never imagined you could. And that realization that they underestimated you will burn longer and deeper than any insult you could have thrown back. So stop trying to prove yourself in the same place they hurt you. Instead, go to work on yourself until their world is too small to contain you. When you rise far enough, revenge is not something you take. It is something they feel every time they remember they lost the chance to be in your life. 4. Starve their power, feed your own. When someone hurts you, they want a reaction. That's the food they live on. Every time you argue with them, explain yourself to them, defend yourself against them, you're handing them a plate full of energy to feed on, whether they admit it or not. The moment they see they pulled you out of your calm, they feel in control. That is their fuel. You must cut them off completely. Starve them of what they crave most, your emotional response. Don't give them your voice, your attention, or your explanation. That doesn't mean you let them walk all over you. It means you choose to fight in a way they cannot win. You see, some battles are not fought by attacking your opponent. They are fought by removing the very thing that keeps your opponent alive in the fight. Every insult, every rumor, every provocation is an invitation to waste your energy. And energy is your most valuable currency in life. You have a choice. You can spend it trying to knock them down, or you can invest it in building yourself up. The first makes them part of your story. The second erases them from it. Feeding your own power means redirecting your focus completely. If they want you distracted, get laser focus on your craft. If they want you angry, get disciplined. If they want you to fail, get so consistent they have no choice but to watch you win. You become dangerous when you stop reacting to their games and start creating your own victories. I learned long ago in martial arts and in life that when your opponent is stronger in one area, you don't fight them head on there. You move, you adapt, you find a way to win that doesn't play into their advantage. If someone's weapon is emotional manipulation, the moment you react, you've stepped into the arena and they've already won. But if you remain unmoved, if you keep your composure, their weapon becomes useless. It will frustrate them. It will eat away at them. They will try harder to provoke you. And every time you remain silent, you are draining their strength. They cannot survive without your response. And the less you give them, the weaker they become, until eventually they collapse under their own weight. But understand this, starving their power is not enough. You must also feed your own. That means training your body until you are strong, training your mind until you are unshakable, training your skill until you are undeniable. The energy you save by not fighting meaningless battles must be poured into something that makes you harder to touch, harder to break, and harder to stop. In the end, your silence is not empty, it's full of purpose. It's not that you didn't respond because you couldn't. It's that you didn't respond because you didn't need to. You were too busy becoming someone they can no longer reach. 5. Speak only through results. Words are cheap. Anyone can talk. Anyone can promise. Anyone can claim they will rise, that they will get even, that they will prove themselves. But I've learned something about people. When you speak too much about what you're going to do, you start to drain the energy you need to actually do it. You give away the mystery. You give away the element of surprise. And worst of all, you give your enemy a front row seat to your plans. When someone hurts you, the natural urge is to defend yourself, to explain your side of the story, to make sure everyone knows the truth. But here's the problem. When you talk, they can argue. When you argue, they can twist your words. And when you try to convince people, you give them the power to decide if you are right or wrong. Why hand over that control? Why play a game where the referee might be biased? Instead, do something they can't argue with. Build results. Not just small victories, build outcomes so undeniable, so visible, so solid, that no opinion, no rumor, no smear can stand against them. You don't need to announce your comeback. You let them witness it in silence, powerless to stop it. Think of it like a fight. The loudest fighter in the room is usually the weakest, the one who is quiet, who trains without telling everyone, who enters the arena without ceremony. That is the fighter who is dangerous. Why? Because he has not wasted his energy on performance. He has put every ounce of his strength into preparation. Your life works the same way. If you want revenge without a word, build something undeniable. If they doubted your skill, master it so well they can't keep up. If they try to humiliate you, rise so high that their insult looks small in comparison. If they try to slow you down, finish the race so far ahead that they're still at the starting line when you cross the finish. When your results speak, your enemies choke on their own silence. They may try to discredit you, but deep down, they know they cannot undo what you've built. They know your success was not gifted, it was earned. And that makes it hurt even more. Because the more you grow, the more obvious it becomes that they fail to stop you. And there's another thing they will hate, that you never address them directly. They will hate that you never shouted their name, never gave them credit for motivating you. Instead, you made your success about you, not about them. You robbed them of the satisfaction of being your reason. You did not just win, you erased them from the story. So remember this, never waste your breath proving someone wrong when you can spend your energy becoming someone they can never reach. Speak only through your victories, your progress, your transformation. Because at the end of the day, results are a language that needs no translation. And no one, not even your greatest enemy, can talk over them. 6. Let time destroy what you don't need to touch. People are impatient by nature. When someone hurts them, they want to respond immediately. They want to see the other person punished now. They want to deliver the final blow now. They want justice now. But this desire for instant revenge is exactly what makes most people lose. They rush into the fight before they are ready. They show their cards before the opponent has even made their real move. I learned a long time ago in martial arts and in life that the greatest victories are not always taken by force. Some are taken by patience. Some are taken by letting time do what you cannot do directly. You must understand, there are people in this world who are already on a path to destroying themselves. Their habits, their arrogance, their dishonesty, their greed, it's already eating away at them from the inside. You don't need to swing at them. You just need to step aside and let time finish the job. Think about it. A man who lives on lies will one day run out of ways to hide them. A woman who plays games with everyone will eventually find herself alone. A person who hurts others for sport will one day hurt the wrong person. And that will be the end of them. This is not your doing. It is the natural law of cause and effect. In martial arts, we call it letting the opponent use their own momentum against themselves. You don't block with force, you redirect. And they fall by their own movement. But here's the challenge. You must have the discipline to let it happen without trying to control it. That means resisting the urge to expose them, to confront them, to show the world who they really are. Because the moment you step in, you make yourself part of their story. And when you are part of their story, they can twist it to make you the villain. Don't give them that weapon. Stay silent, stay removed, and let their own actions write the ending. Time is the most honest judge there is. It reveals truth slowly but completely. Masks slip, lies unravel, weakness shows. And when that happens, the beauty is you don't have to lift a finger. You will be standing far away, untouched, watching them face the consequences of seeds they planted long ago. That is power. That is control. I know waiting is not easy. Your mind will tell you they are getting away with it. Your heart will tell you, I need to act now. But look closer. Are they truly winning, or are they simply delaying the fall? Many times, when someone hurts you, their victory is temporary. They might look strong, they might seem untouchable, but underneath, cracks are forming, and those cracks will spread until the whole structure collapses. If you step in too early, you interrupt that collapse. But if you wait, you watch it crumble on its own. In my life, I have seen many men fall without anyone throwing a punch at them. They fell because they could not carry the weight of their own ego. They fell because they underestimated the damage they did to others. And eventually, it circled back to them. That is what people call karma. But in truth, it is simply the result of living out of balance. The universe has its way of restoring balance, and you don't have to interfere with that process. Patience is not weakness. In fact, patience is a weapon. It takes more strength to stay still and watch than it does to jump into the fight. Every day, you do nothing. You are letting them dig deeper into their own trap. And the best part is when they finally fall, no one can point at you and say, "You caused this." No, they caused it. They lived in a way that led them exactly there. And while time is working on them, you must work on yourself. That's not victory, that's stagnation. No, while time is busy exposing them, you should be busy building yourself. Train your body until you are strong. Train your mind until you are unshakable. Build your skills until they are undeniable. So that when the day comes and they are gone, you are standing taller than ever, unbothered, unstoppable. Here is something most people don't realize. Silence and time together are a force that crushes the ego of your enemy. When you disappear from their world and refuse to respond, they are forced to fill in the silence themselves. They will wonder if you are planning something. They will wonder if you have already moved on. They will wonder if they mattered at all. And as the weeks and months pass, those questions will not go away. They will grow louder in their minds until they become the punishment. Some enemies deserve to see your strength. Others deserve to see nothing at all. The ones who deserve nothing, let time handle them. Time is a blade sharper than any sword, and it strikes when they least expect it. You cannot block it. You cannot bargain with it. You cannot stop it. And that is why it is the most perfect form of silent revenge. So the next time someone hurts you and you are tempted to react instantly, remember this. If they are on a path of self-destruction, the most powerful thing you can do is get out of the way. Don't warn them. Don't guide them. Don't correct them. Let them run and watch as the road beneath them begins to break. When they finally fall, you won't need to say a single word. Your silence will have been your strategy. Your patience will have been your weapon, and time will have been your greatest ally. 7. Become so unshakable they can't exist in your world. When most people think about revenge, they imagine some grand moment standing face to face with the one who hurt them, delivering a speech, proving a point, getting that final word that leaves the other person speechless. They think the goal is to win against someone. But what they don't understand is this. If your victory still needs their presence to feel complete, then you are still tied to them. You haven't really won. True victory, the kind that ends the game forever, is when the person who hurt you no longer even exists in your world. Not because they've disappeared physically, but because they no longer have the power to affect your mind, your emotions, your peace. You have become so unshakable, so grounded in yourself, that they could stand right in front of you and it would feel the same as if they were a stranger passing you in the street. No reaction, no pull, no weight, nothing. That is the highest level of power, not needing to defeat them. Because in your reality, they are already gone. Let me explain this. In martial arts, the goal is not always to beat your opponent to the ground. Sometimes, the goal is to move so fluidly, so skillfully, that their attacks can't even touch you. You are not clashing, you are simply not there when they swing. In life, this is the same. The people who hurt you swing with their words, their lies, their attempts to provoke you. If you are still reactive, they will keep finding ways to land those hits. But if you become unshakable, their strikes pass right through the space where you used to stand. Becoming unshakable is not about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about building yourself into someone who genuinely cannot be moved by things that used to control you. This means training your mind until it no longer takes every insult personally. Training your emotions until they no longer rise to every provocation. Training your perspective until you can look at someone who once had power over you and think, you have no place here anymore. The path to this level of strength is not easy. It requires discipline that most people will never understand. You have to stop feeding your thoughts with their memory. Stop replaying old arguments. Stop imagining what you would say if you saw them again. Every time you do, you give them a seat in your mind. And as long as they have a seat there, they are still part of your world. You must evict them completely. That means replacing those thoughts with visions of your own growth, your own goals, your own future, until the idea of them fades like smoke in the wind. The beauty of becoming unshakable is that your silence becomes terrifying to those who once thrive on your reactions. They will try to poke at you, to test you, to see if they can still provoke the old you. But when you remain unmoved, when your face, your tone, your energy all stay calm, they will realize the truth. The person they hurt no longer exists. They can't win against someone who has nothing to lose. They can't unbalance someone whose center is too solid to be moved. And here's the secret: when you reach this state, they stop being your enemy. Not because you forgive them or accept what they did, but because you have elevated so far above their level of thinking that they are irrelevant. You no longer measure your worth against theirs. You no longer need them to acknowledge your success. You no longer need them to feel regret. You simply live. And in that life, they have no place. This is the ultimate form of silent revenge. Because while they may still think about you, still speak about you, still try to reach you, you are living in a place they cannot enter. You've moved on to a higher arena. You're playing a different game, one they don't even know the rules to. And deep down, that will destroy them far more than any direct attack ever could. Think of it like this. Imagine you're standing in a small room with your enemy. The air is tense. Every move they make affects you. Every word they say echoes in your head. Now imagine walking out of that room into a vast open world of opportunity, growth, and purpose. You never go back to that small room. And even if they're still inside, shouting your name. You can't hear them anymore, not because they're quiet, but because you've walked so far away, their voice no longer reaches you. That is what being unshakable feels like. When you reach this point, everything changes. Your energy no longer leaks toward battles that don't matter. Your time is spent building, creating, mastering yourself. You're sharper, stronger, calmer. People notice. They see the difference in your walk, your posture, your decisions. And even though you never say their name, the one who hurt you will feel it. They will see your growth from a distance, knowing they are no longer part of it. And that knowledge will sting deeper than anything you could have said to them. This is why I say revenge is not about destroying your enemy. It's about creating a life where they are irrelevant. It's about removing them from the map entirely, not by force, but by moving so far that they can no longer find you. When they realize they have been erased from your mind, they so become so unshakable that their actions no longer even register. Build a foundation so strong that no insult, no betrayal, no rumor can crack it. Live in a way that makes their existence a footnote, not a chapter. And when they finally see that they cannot touch you, not with words, not with actions, not even with memories, that is when you have truly won. That is the silence they will never recover from. Now that lessons 1-7 are fully expanded, you have a complete long-form Bruce Lee Revenge Masterclass script that could easily run as a 25-30 minute YouTube video if narrated with the right pacing and intensity. 8. Turn their attack into your transformation. There's something most people don't realize when they are hurt, betrayed, or attacked. They see the moment only as pain, as loss, as something taken from them. They focus on the wound, on the insult, on the disrespect. But I learned long ago, in both fighting and in life, that every attack carries a hidden gift. The enemy believes they are harming you. In truth, if you know how to use it, they are handing you the exact pressure you need to evolve into someone stronger. In martial arts, when your opponent strikes, you have a choice. You can block, you can retreat, or you can absorb and redirect. If you block, you take the hit and stay where you are. If you retreat, you lose ground. But if you absorb and redirect, you turn their force into your weapon. Their energy becomes yours. That is the highest form of skill, not just defending yourself, but using what they gave you to break them without even touching them. This applies in life exactly the same way. When someone tries to hurt you, you can meet their attack with equal aggression and waste your energy. You can retreat into self-pity and let them win. Or you can take what they gave you and use it to build something they never saw coming. For example, if they told you that you weren't good enough, don't argue with them. Don't spend your nights replaying their words. Instead, let that doubt become the fuel that pushes you to sharpen your craft until no one, not even they, can deny your skill. If they betrayed your trust, don't drown in bitterness. Use that experience to develop sharper instincts so no one can ever blindside you again. If they try to break your spirit, don't give them the satisfaction. Use the pain as proof that you can endure more than you thought possible. Here's the truth. The greatest transformations in my life came from moments when someone tried to push me down. They thought they were ending something, but they were starting something far greater. I didn't waste my time proving them wrong with words. I proved them wrong by becoming someone they could never reach again. When you turn their attack into transformation, you do two things at once. You grow, and you make their strike meaningless. You rob them of victory, because what they meant for harm became the very thing that elevated you. And when they see you standing taller, moving faster, thinking sharper, not despite them, but because of them, it will destroy them quietly, deeply. This is not about pretending it didn't hurt. Pain is real. Anger is real. But you decide whether that pain hardens into bitterness or sharpens into strength. The moment you choose strength, you have already outsmarted them. Because now, instead of wasting months or years trying to get back at them, you are using that time to become unrecognizable. By the time they hear your name again, you are not the same person they tried to damage. You are a new force entirely. Think about the power in this. Every insult becomes a stepping stone. Every betrayal becomes a training ground. Every setback becomes a foundation. The more they throw at you, the more material you have to build yourself. They are handing you the bricks, not realizing you are building a fortress. But here's the key: you must not let them see your building process. Do it in silence. Don't announce what you're working on. Don't hint at the outcome. Let them think they won. Let them think you've disappeared. All the while, you are transforming behind the scenes. Then, when you finally appear, it will not be to fight them, it will be to show them, without a word, that their attack created something they could never destroy. The most devastating part of this revenge is that they will realize they were not your enemy. They were your teacher. They gave you the lesson. You took it, mastered it, and left them behind. And that will cut deeper than anything you could have said or done in the heat of the moment. So remember, when someone tries to hurt you, don't just survive it. Take it, use it, shape it. Let their force become your transformation. Because the moment you turn an enemy's attack into your evolution, you've not only outsmarted them, you've made them irrelevant to your future. And that is the highest victory. 9. Master the art of indifference. Erase them without erasing yourself. People believe hate is the opposite of love. They believe anger is the opposite of peace. But there is something colder, sharper, and far more destructive than hate indifference. Hate still cares. Hate still watches. Hate still thinks about the other person. But indifference means they no longer occupy a single corner of your mind. They no longer live in your world at all. And when someone who tried to hurt you realizes they don't even matter enough for you to think about them, that is a pain no insult can match. In martial arts, I don't waste energy on meaningless movement. Every strike has purpose. Every step has intention. If I swing without aim, I am wasting my breath, my balance, my power. Life works the same way. Every ounce of emotional energy you spend should go toward building yourself, not feeding someone who tried to destroy you. If you are still watching them, still wondering about them, still checking to see if they notice you, then you are still fighting their fight, not yours. Indifference is not pretending they don't matter while secretly caring. No, that's an act. And acts drain energy. True indifference is when your focus on your own life becomes so complete, so consuming, that they naturally fade into nothing without effort. You don't have to erase them, they dissolve because there is no space left for them. The problem is, most people keep their enemies alive by constantly feeding them through memory. They replay the betrayal, they repeat the insult, they think about what they should have said, and each replay is like inviting that person back into your mind. You cannot heal that way. You cannot move forward that way. You must cut off the supply line. Here is how you do it. You shift your attention so fully toward your purpose that there is no mental room for them. This isn't just about keeping busy. It's about replacing the old mental loop with something bigger, something powerful, something alive. If you train daily, master your craft, focus on your body, your mind, your mission, their name becomes a blur in the background of your life. One day you'll realize you haven't thought about them in months. And when you do think about them, it feels like remembering a character from a movie you once saw. And here's the part they will never admit. They want you to hate them. They want you to react. They want to know they still control some part of you. Hate still makes them important. But when you respond with indifference, when you treat them like a shadow that passes over the ground without ever touching you, they lose that control forever. The art of indifference does not mean you let people walk over you. It means you stop giving them a seat at your table. You stop letting them influence your choices. You stop allowing their opinion to be a factor in your decisions. This is the highest level of freedom, when your actions are no longer reactions to them, but pure expressions of your own will. In a fight, I don't stand in front of my opponent and block every strike forever. I move. I find the angle where their punches can't reach me at all. In life, indifference is that movement. You don't just block their attempts to hurt you, you live in a way where they can't reach you at all. The beauty is that you don't need to announce this. You don't need to say, I don't care about you anymore. There's still a reaction. You simply live it. And the more you live in a state of true indifference, the clearer it becomes to them. They will notice that you no longer respond to their provocations. They will notice that you no longer speak of them. They will notice that they are not in your world anymore. And that realization will haunt them, because they will understand they have been erased, but not by force. They vanished because they were no longer relevant. And there is another reward to mastering indifference. It protects you from becoming like them. Hate corrodes you. Revenge, if done without discipline, can consume you. But indifference lets you walk away clean without carrying their poison into your future. You keep your clarity. You keep your energy. You keep your balance. So, when someone tries to hurt you, ask yourself, do they deserve even my hate? Do they deserve my thoughts, my time, my emotion? If the answer is no, erase them by living so fully that their absence is automatic. Not because you tried to remove them, but because you were too busy building a life they could never enter. That is the art of indifference. That is how you erase someone without lifting a finger. And when they finally realize they are not your enemy anymore because they are nothing to you, that is when you have given them the most silent, most devastating revenge possible. 10, win so big they can't even stand in the same room as you. There is one kind of revenge that silences all enemies, all doubters, all betrayers, without you ever needing to name them. It's not anger, it's not confrontation, it's not even walking away. It's winning on such a scale that they can no longer even exist comfortably in your presence. You see, most people think revenge is about confronting someone and showing them you were right. But when you still need them to see you, when you still need them to acknowledge your success, you are giving them power. You're saying, my victory still depends on you noticing it. And that means they still live in your world. But when you win so big, so undeniably, that the mere fact of your existence becomes a mirror to their failures, you don't need them to notice. The world notices for them. They hear your name in conversations they can't escape. They see your face in places they thought you'd never reach. And it doesn't matter if you say a word, the success itself does the talking. In martial arts, there is a level where you no longer have to prove you can fight. Your presence in the room speaks for itself. The way you stand, the way you move, the way you carry yourself, it tells everyone that you are not to be taken lightly. You don't have to show your skills unless you choose to. In life, your victories can work the same way. When someone hurts you, the temptation is to match their energy, to strike back, to win small battles, to get even. But that's just playing their game. And when you play their game, you might win a round, but you're still trapped in their arena. I don't play in the arenas of my enemies. I build my own one, so large, so powerful, that they cannot step inside without feeling like they don't belong. Winning big means you stop thinking about revenge as a single moment. You stop thinking, how can I get back at them this week, this month? Instead, you start thinking in years. You think about building something that will stand long after they are gone. You create a life so solid, so abundant, so rich in mastery, that nothing they said or did even matters anymore. And here's the secret. The bigger your win, the less you need to speak. Silence becomes your crown. You don't need to announce your rise. Your rise announces itself. When people talk about you, they talk about your achievements, not your grudges. Your name becomes associated with growth, strength, discipline, not with the pettiness of revenge. But understand, this path is not for the impatient. It takes time to win big. It takes discipline to focus on your craft when your emotions are screaming at you to lash out. It takes vision to see beyond the next battle to the war. You're really trying to win the war to become untouchable. Here's how you do it. First, you redirect all the energy you would have spent on them back into yourself. Every thought about their insult becomes a thought about your next move. Every moment of anger becomes fuel for your training. Every urge to prove yourself to them becomes an urge to prove yourself to you. Second, you set your targets so high that they scare you. Not because you need to impress anyone, but because the pursuit of something that big will pull you so far beyond the reach of your enemies that they can no longer even see you clearly. Third, you protect your circle. No more sharing your dreams with people who might sabotage them. No more letting poisonous voices into your plans. Build your environment like a fortress. Every person in it should either sharpen you or support you. And finally, you stay quiet while you build. The bigger the win, the more important it is to protect it until it's real. Let your results arrive like a sudden storm, undeniable, unavoidable, and too powerful to stop. The most devastating part of winning this big is what it does to the people who hurt you. You don't have to rub it in. You don't have to flex on them. They will feel it the moment they see how far you've gone. They will remember every time they underestimated you, every time they thought you were finished, every time they thought their words or actions could hold you down, and they will realize they were wrong. But here's the twist. By the time you win at this level, you won't even care about their reaction anymore. You'll be too busy living the life you built. You'll be surrounded by people who matter, doing work that matters, enjoying peace that they can't touch. And when you reach that point, revenge becomes irrelevant because you've already won in the only way that counts. That is the final stage of silent revenge. A victory so complete, so far beyond the original fight, that the person who hurt you is no longer even part of the story. So don't aim to just beat them. Don't aim to just prove them wrong. Aim to build a life so powerful that their entire existence fades into the background. Win so big that they can't even stand in the same room as you, not because you pushed them out, but because your success has made the air too heavy for them to breathe. 11. Become the storm they can never predict and never prepare for. Most people live their lives on a predictable path. They react the same way to provocation. They fight in the same way when attacked. And they reveal their strategies without even realizing it. That's why their enemies can prepare for them, because they are easy to read, easy to provoke, easy to control. But if you want to end someone without saying a word, you must stop being predictable. You must stop being easy to map. You must become something they cannot calculate, cannot corner, cannot prepare for. You must become the storm. When I say become the storm, I don't mean chaos for chaos' sake. I mean you must carry an energy that is in constant motion, impossible to pin down. You must live in such a way that your enemies never know where you will strike next, or if you will strike at all. They cannot predict you, so they cannot stop you. In martial arts, the most dangerous fighter is not the strongest, but the one who is fluid. If you are rigid, if you only have one style, one stance, one move, your opponent will figure you out within minutes. But if you can shift, adapt, and flow, if you can be soft when they expect hardness, fast when they expect patience, silent when they expect noise, then they are always reacting to you instead of the other way around. And in life, this principle is the same. The person who hurt you wants you to be predictable. They want you to explode when they push. They want you to beg when they withhold. They want you to shrink when they threaten. They want you to do exactly what they've seen you do before, because that makes their job easy. That makes you easy prey. But imagine this. They try to provoke you, and instead of exploding, you smile calmly and walk away. They try to ignore you to get under your skin, and instead of chasing, you disappear completely, leaving them wondering what happened. They try to spread rumors about you, and instead of defending yourself, you rise so far above their noise that their words vanish in the wind. Now they don't know what's coming. And when people don't know what's coming, they waste their energy watching, waiting, second-guessing. You flip the script. They are no longer the hunter. They are the hunted. Becoming the storm is not just about confusing them, it's about mastering yourself so deeply that you can choose any response in any moment without being controlled by emotion. You can be still like water or fierce like lightning. Not because you're pretending, but because you've trained yourself to move with precision, not impulse. And here's the truth most people never understand. Unpredictability without control is just chaos. It burns you out as much as it burns them. The power comes from being able to choose unpredictability at will. That's why this lesson starts with self-mastery. You must know yourself better than anyone else knows you. You must understand your own habits, your own triggers, your own weaknesses, and then break them. If you always react quickly, train yourself to wait. If you always hold back, train yourself to strike. If you always speak, train yourself to go silent. Every habit they've come to rely on must be dismantled. When you become the storm, you also stop chasing the moment of revenge. You understand that your unpredictability itself is the revenge. They will waste days, months, even years trying to figure you out. And the whole time, you will be moving forward, untouched, unstoppable. This is where the silence becomes lethal. If you tell them what you're doing, they can prepare. If you hint at your moves, they can adjust. But if you reveal nothing, if you simply keep moving, keep growing, keep shifting, they are left in permanent uncertainty. And uncertainty is exhausting. They will tire themselves out, watching for an attack that may never come. While you use your energy to build, to create, to expand. In martial arts, I've watched fighters crumble without being touched, simply because they couldn't read their opponent. They started making mistakes, losing balance, hesitating, all because the other fighter refused to move in a way they expected. In life, your enemies will do the same. If they cannot read you, they will misstep. And their own missteps will be their downfall. But here's the final, most devastating part of becoming the storm. When you truly master it, you no longer even care about their downfall. You are moving so far, so fast, so fluidly toward your own purpose that their existence becomes irrelevant. They will still be stuck in the game of trying to read you long after you've left the arena entirely. The storm is not just destruction, it is transformation. Rain, wind, lightning. Each element reshapes the landscape. You must be the same. Every move you make should reshape your life so profoundly that the person they thought they knew no longer exists. And when they finally realize they can't touch you, can't predict you, can't even find you in the life you've built, that is when they will understand they did not lose because you fought them harder. They lost because you became untouchable. That is the ultimate revenge, without a word. 12. Make them a ghost in your world and a legend in theirs. When most people are hurt, their instinct is to either fight back directly or to cut the other person off completely. They think those are the only two choices, war or distance. But there is a third path, one far more powerful, far more devastating, and far more permanent. You don't just walk away. You don't just ignore them. You make them disappear from your world entirely, like they never existed. And then, without lifting a finger toward them, you rise so high that your name, your face, your success, your discipline, becomes a constant presence in their world. That is the double strike. Erase them from your mind, but make yourself unforgettable in theirs. Let me explain how this works. In martial arts, there's a principle called ghosting. You don't stand in the same spot where the opponent expects you to be. You vanish from their target area, and when they throw a punch, it meets nothing but air. They are hitting the memory of where you used to be, not where you are now. Life works the same way. The people who hurt you expect to find you where they left you, still angry, still bitter, still replaying the wound. They expect you to still be a fixed point in their mind, but when they come looking, you're not there anymore. The person they thought they hurt is gone. You've changed, evolved, moved so far beyond that moment that they are swinging at a shadow. You've ghosted them. Here's the beauty when you ghost someone in life. You don't just disappear from their reach. You disappear from the emotional space they used to occupy in your mind. You stop rehearsing what you would say to them. You stop imagining their reaction to your success. You stop feeding them with your attention. They are not just out of sight, they are out of existence. That's the first strike. The second strike is what comes next. While they no longer exist in your world, you make sure you exist in theirs. Not by chasing them, not by sending them proof of your growth, not by trying to get their attention. No, you exist in their world through the natural echo of your success. When you rise high enough, the world carries your name without your effort. Your work is seen. Your victories are noticed. Your reputation is spoken of in rooms you've never entered. And the person who tried to hurt you, they hear it. They hear it without you speaking. They see it without you showing. And because they no longer have access to you, they can't argue with it, can't twist it, can't poison it. This is the most painful kind of revenge for someone with a bruised ego, to watch you grow into someone unrecognizable while they are stuck exactly where they were when they tried to bring you down, to watch you win in ways they didn't believe were possible for you, without ever getting the satisfaction of thinking they were part of it. You must understand, you don't achieve this by obsessing over them. You achieve this by obsessing over you. Every ounce of energy that could have gone into fighting them goes into mastering yourself. Every moment you could have spent thinking about their life goes into building yours. And the most important part, you never break the silence. You never directly address them. You never send them a message saying, "Look at me now." You don't need to. The moment you do that, you give them the comfort of knowing they are still in your thoughts. The true devastation comes when they realize they are not. When they see your name, your face, your success, and understand that it was built entirely without them and in spite of them. In martial arts, a ghost strike is invisible until it lands. It comes from a place they aren't watching. This kind of silent revenge is the same. They don't see it coming until they realize it's everywhere. They can try to avoid it, but your success will keep appearing in their world like echoes in an empty room. And here's the deepest cut. By the time they truly notice, it will be too late for them to catch up. While they were watching you, waiting for you to react, you were building something far beyond their reach. They will look at what you've built and know in their heart that they can never stand where you stand now. But there's a warning here. This path is not about feeding your ego. If you rise only to show them, then they still own a part of you. No, this path is about building a life so complete, so aligned with your purpose, that showing them becomes irrelevant. The echo of your success is just the byproduct, not the goal. So how do you make them a ghost in your world and a legend in theirs? Cut off all emotional ties. This doesn't mean pretending. It means doing the inner work to actually remove them from your thoughts. Every time they appear in your mind, replace them with a vision of your future self. Stop reacting entirely. Not less, not smaller, entirely. You do not acknowledge their words, their moves, their existence. Focus all energy inward. Train, learn, build, refine. Become someone so disciplined that their name feels like a distraction from your mission. Rise publicly without speaking privately. Let your success be visible to the world without ever directing it at them. If they see it, they see it. If they hear it, they hear it. But it will never come from you. Protect your space. Surround yourself only with people who move you forward, who do not carry news of them back to you. Keep your circle clean. When you do this, something powerful happens. One day, they will hear about you, not from you, but from the world. They will see what you've become, but they won't know how you got there. They will realize they are no longer a character in your story, but you have become an unshakable figure in theirs. And that is the final truth of this lesson. You don't need to haunt them with words. You haunt them with the undeniable reality that you have erased them completely. While life has made you unforgettable in ways they cannot escape, that is how you make them a ghost in your world and a legend in theirs. Most people spend their lives trying to prove themselves to others. They waste their breath, their time, their energy, chasing the approval of people who once tried to break them. They argue, they defend. They fight battles that don't matter, in arenas they don't own. And in the end, they discover too late that they gave away the one thing they could never get back: their focus. You must be different. You must understand what the weak never will. The loudest revenge is temporary, but the quietest revenge is eternal. Every lesson I've given you here is about taking back your control, about mastering your fire before it burns you, about walking away so they starve without your presence, about growing so far they can't reach you, about starving their power and feeding your own, about speaking only through results, about letting time destroy what you don't need to touch, about becoming unshakable so they no longer exist in your world, about turning their attack into your transformation, about mastering indifference so they fade into nothing, about winning so big they can't stand in the same room as you, about becoming the storm they can never predict, about making them a ghost in your world while becoming a legend in theirs. You are not here to meet them on the battlefield they chose. You are here to build a world so vast, so disciplined, so full of purpose, that they cannot enter it, not with their words, not with their presence, not even with their memory. So when someone tries to hurt you, remember this: you do not need to shout. You do not need to announce your rise. You do not need to win in front of them. You need only to live in such a way that their existence becomes irrelevant. And when that day comes, when you are too busy building, too strong to break, too far ahead to touch, you will realize something powerful. You never needed revenge. You needed mastery. And mastery is the one victory no one can take from you.